You want to know if you're strong, and I am here to tell you. I've gone through tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of results on Open Powerlifting, and based on your body weight, I'm going to tell you where your squat, your bench press, your deadlift, and your total rank in terms of all of the recorded lifts in powerlifting. Do you think you're strong? It's time to find out. The one question gym goers always want to know is, are you strong? And not are you strong generally speaking, or strong relative to your family, but strong relative to other people who lift. And I'm here to solve that question for you today. I've gone through all of the powerlifting data. I'm going to tell you how I did it, and I'm going to tell you exactly where you are in terms of percentiles and how strong you are to powerlifting standards. Now, we're going to do this with powerlifting because with machines, they're always different. With cables, they're always different. And movement standards are hard to establish. And powerlifting is the only strength sport. It's also a strength sport that's managed to do this. It's also the sport that everyone can do. If you go into a gym, you can squat, you can bench press, and you can deadlift. So if you haven't tested your max, this could be a good barometer to see where you might be, and then you can go test yourself. So what I've done is I've broken men and women into heavyweight and lightweight. For men, heavyweight is going to be over 242 pounds. And of course, lightweight is under 242 pounds. For women, lightweight is going to be under 165. And of course, heavyweight is going to be over 165. We're going to go through bench press, squat, deadlift, and total. And I'm going to put you into a category. The first category is going to be beginner, where you're in the 0 to 10th percentile. Then we're going to go to intermediate, where you're the 10th to 50th percentile. This is a big chunk of people. Then above average, 50 to 65th percentile. Advanced, 65th to 80th percentile. Elite, 80 to 95th percentile. And finally, pro, which is 95th percentile plus. I'm also going to tell you about the king and queen of each category in each lift, so we can give some appreciation to some of the strongest, most badass people on the planet. Without further ado, let's get into these numbers. Now, I went through Open Powerlifting, where there are tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of results, and that's how I've come up with the percentiles and the numbers. This is just on all of the available data. It does not get more cut and dry than this. So let's start with squats, how all powerlifting meets start. Starting with the lightweight men, under 242 pounds. Important caveat here, I've done this with knee sleeves, not knee wraps. Reason being, I think most people in the gym are sleeved or no sleeves at all and not wrapped. So I thought it was a bit skewed to include wraps. Now, I'm not including tested, untested, whatever. Most federations that are sleeves are tested, but these numbers could be one or the other. So take that as it is. With lightweight men, in the beginner category, as in you are in the 10th percentile of the strongest people in your weight class and gender, we're talking a squat from 55.1 pounds, slightly more than the bar itself, to 352.7 pounds. That's 3.5 plates, slightly under 3.5 plates to be in the 10th percentile. When we go up to intermediate, it is the 10th to the 50th percentile. Now, for those of you who don't know percentiles, 50th is dead average. With all of the data, that's dead average. And that starts 10th percentile, like I said, 353 pounds. And dead average for lightweight men is 468.4 pounds. That is a little bit more than 4.5 plates. Now, this is for one rep, one maximal rep, 4.5 plates. When we get to the above average category, it takes us from 468 pounds to 501 pounds. We're now over a 5-plate squat to be stronger than 65% of people in your category who have powerlifted. In the elite category, we go from 540 pounds all the way up to 611.7 pounds. That load is more than 6 plates. It is less than 6.5 plates, slightly more than 6 plates. Now, if you can do that, and if you can do more than that, you're in the 5th percentile. You're in a group of 5% of individuals under 242 pounds who would be able to squat that load, which is pretty incredible. If we talk about the king of this lift, it's Ashton Rauschka. He is unbelievably strong. Now, remember, to be in the 5th percentile, you need to be 612 pounds in your squat. And at 26 years old, he squatted 839 pounds, a full 227 pounds more than it takes to be in the 5th percentile. This shows you there are absolutely levels to the game. It is an exponential curve. To talk about lightweight women, the beginner category is anyone who squats under 176 pounds. Again, these are women under 165 pounds. If you want to be in the 50th percentile, the intermediate category begins at 176 pounds, and the average person squats 253 pounds. To be above average, up to the 65th percentile, you have to be from 253 to 275 pounds. That is 2.5 plates. That is to be better than 65% of lifters in your category. To be in the advanced category, we're talking going all the way up to 298 pounds, and that would make you better than 80% of people, and you'd be in the 80th percentile, of course. Now, in the elite category, it's going to take us from the 80th percentile, which is 298 pounds, all the way up to the 5th percentile, which is 353 pounds. And if you're a woman under 165 pounds and you can squat 352 pounds or a little less than 3.5 plates, if you can squat that or more, you're in the 5th percentile, what I'm calling the pro category. But like many others, this pales in comparison to the queen of this lift. Her name is Karola Gara. Apologies if I've pronounced that incorrectly. From Lithuania, in Lithuania, she squatted 490 pounds, 140 pounds more than it takes to be in the 5th percentile of lifters. Getting to the heavy hitters, heavyweight women, the beginner category goes from squatting just the bar all the way up to 168 pounds. The intermediate category is taking us from 168 pounds to 253 pounds. Above average, 253 pounds to 278 pounds. To be advanced, you must squat somewhere between 278 and 312 pounds. To be elite, you must squat between 312 pounds and 377 pounds. And to be in the top 5% of all lifters of women in any weight class open to anyone, you need to squat 377 pounds or more. Now, I had never heard of this girl who is the queen of the squats for women of any weight class in these sleeved parameters. Her name is Sanita Malu. 2024 IPF Worlds, she squatted 686 pounds, an absurd 300 pounds more than it would take to be in the pro or the 5th percentile of women in the heavyweight category. Absolutely incredible. And for the heaviest squatters of them all, heavyweight men over 242 pounds, beginner category, we've got 44.1 pounds, again, just the bar, all the way up to 358 pounds. Intermediate, 358 pounds to 501 pounds. For advanced, 540 pounds to 584 pounds. Elite, 584 pounds to 672 pounds. And for pro, top 5th percentile, 95th percentile, you're better than 95% of people, you must squat more than 672 pounds. Now, the king of this, we all know him. He's the legend of squatting, the best raw squatter of all time. And I would have loved this guy to throw on wraps at some stage and see what he could have hit. But Ray Williams squatted 1,080 pounds. He was 32 years old. He did this at an IPF meet. Ray Williams, he was also in a drug-tested federation. He competed mostly in the IPF. So absolutely incredible. That does us for squats. Moving to bench press and going back to our lightweight men, under 242 pounds, beginner 55 pounds to 237 pounds, which was surprising to me. It's surprising because a 2-plate bench to me is pretty decent, but amongst people who powerlift, a 2-plate bench only gets you into the beginner class, even in the lightweight men category. To get intermediate, 237 pounds to 320 pounds, so 50th percentile, average person, we're talking a 3-plate bench. Now, this is average amongst strength athletes. I must put that in as a caveat. Average of powerlifters, but this is the best data that we have. Above average is going to go from 320 to 342 pounds. Advanced from 342 to 375. Elite to 375. And 430 caps us off. If you can bench more than 430 pounds, you're in the 5th percentile of people who bench press. Now, the guy who broke this, the king of the bench press for lightweight men, in the raw category. A 16-year-old record. This is the oldest record that I can find. His name is Neil Edens, and it is standing for 16 years. He benched 612 pounds under 242 pounds. That is absurd. If we talk about lightweight women, they go from benching the bar to 99 pounds to be considered beginner, 99 pounds to 138. So we're talking now benching one plate. That puts you in the 50th percentile in the intermediate category. If you can bench 138 to 154, you're above average. 154 to 171, advanced. 171 to 204 is going to put you elite. And you're in the 95th percentile if you can bench press 204 pounds or more. Now, the record in this was set by Agata Sitko, who is 21 years old. 21 years old, lightweight woman benching 341 pounds. Go ahead and pop in the comments if that makes you feel bad, because I know that is so strong. Unbelievable. With heavyweight women, beginners going from 33 to 99.1 pounds, intermediate from 99.1 to 139 pounds, above average from 139 to 149 pounds, advanced 149 to 169, and elite 169 to 213. 213 pounds plus is going to put you in the 95th percentile. The most interesting thing here is for bench press, lightweight women and heavyweight women, it's not that different. And I think in powerlifting, sometimes overly large people get into it because it's a great way for them to exercise, get moving, compete, feel successful. And body weight helps a lot with squatting, can help a lot with deadlifting, but the data would suggest that it doesn't help women that much to put on weight to add to the bench press. Use that for what you wish. The queen of the bench press is April Mathis, age 29 years old. She benched 457 pounds. So whilst it doesn't help on aggregate, it doesn't even help to be in the top 5%. I mean, it's only 9 pounds different between the top 5% of lightweight women and top 5% of heavyweight women. But it makes a big difference when you get to the top. April Mathis benched 457 pounds, and Agata Sitko in the lightweight category benched 341. So potentially, if you're going for the absolute pinnacle of human performance and strength, I'm going to guess April is taller, naturally larger built than Agata. But regardless, she is an extreme outlier, and that is heavyweight women for bench press. For the heaviest benchers in the world, the heavyweight men, in the beginner category, we're going from 55 to 242 pounds. Intermediate category, 242 to 342 pounds. Above average, from 342 to 375 pounds. Advanced, 375 to 408 pounds over a 4-plate bench to be in the advanced category, or caps the advanced category. And elite is 408 to 474 pounds. If you bench 474 pounds or more, that puts you in the pro category or in the top 5%. Now, this is far and away, in my opinion, the most difficult numbers to achieve. I mean, a 474 pound bench, when we talk about heavyweight men, if we compare that to the squat of a 672 pound squat, I feel like more people would be able to squat 672 than bench 474, but that's just not what the data shows. Everyone knows who the king of the bench press is. Of course, Julius Maddox. He's benched 783 pounds. He did that back in 2021, and he's still chasing the 800-pound mark. Most interestingly, he benched 783. The next best recorded bench press in a competition is Kirill Sarachev. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but he benched 738 pounds. So Julius is well ahead, 44 pounds ahead of Kirill for the best bench press of all time. Now, moving on. Finally, we got deadlifts. Lightweight men, deadlifting. 44.1 to 380 pounds puts you as a beginner. Intermediates are going to be from 380 pounds to 529 pounds. Above average is 529 to 561. Advanced is from 562 to 601. And to be elite, you're deadlifting between 600 and 667 pounds. If you deadlift more than 667 pounds, which is basically exactly 7 plates, 7 plates or more, you're in the top 5% of deadlifters. But you are nothing compared to Sanchez Dillon, who is the king of the lightweight male deadlift. And he deadlifted 882 pounds when he was under 242 pounds. That is insane. For the lightweight women, beginners going from 55.1 to 226 pounds, intermediate from 226 to 303 pounds, above average, 303 pounds to 320 pounds, advanced takes you from 320 pounds to 353 pounds, elite, 353 pounds to 402 pounds, and pro is 402 pounds or more to be in the top 5%. The queen of the deadlifts for lightweight women, fellow Canadian, absolute phenom. At 24 years old, Jessica Butner deadlifted 551 pounds. Crazy. We got something in the maple syrup up in Canada for sure. Now shifting to heavyweight women, beginner heavyweight women are going from 66.1 to 218 pounds, intermediate from 218 pounds to 293 pounds, above average from 293 to 313, advanced 313 pounds to 342 pounds, elite from 342 pounds to 397 pounds, and pro is 397 pounds or more. Sarah Schiff has the heaviest deadlift ever for women under our parameters at 640 pounds at WRPF in Nevada. Incredibly, she did this at 48 years old. Sarah getting maybe a late start, maybe she's done it for a long time, but pulled an absurd amount of weight, literally 240 pounds more than the person who's just cracked the top 5%. It's crazy. The widest category that I've done in terms of percentiles is intermediate, from 10 to 50%. But the largest span in terms of load is always from the pro to the best in the world, which I think is an important thing to recognize. You can beat a vast majority of the world, even if you feel like you pale in comparison to the person who's number one. To be number one in the world, you got to have genetics and life situation and financials and injury, not getting injured and reducing injury risk. You have to have all of these things to be able to achieve a world record and to be number one in the world. But use this as a guide. Maybe you can be more proud than you think. For heavyweight men, to be in the beginner category, 110 pounds to 413 pounds. Intermediate from 413 to 540. Above average from 540 to 575. Advanced from 575 to 620 pounds, elite from 620 pounds to 700 pounds. And if you can deadlift more than 700 pounds, you are in the top 5% of deadlifters. The most impressive number, the largest number of any lift on this list, actually, excuse me, no, it's not, other than Ray Williams squats. Very close. Danny Grigsby in 2022 deadlifted 1,075 in a powerlifting meet. That's 475 kilos. I know that because this is my personal best as well. Incredible. He did it sumo. Have the opinion that you want. It's allowed as per the competition. And if you'd like to test yourself, go ahead and test conventional, test sumo, and take whatever number's higher because that fits within the rules. Now, rounding it out, let's talk total. If you were to add together your bench press, your squat, and your deadlift, would you turn out advanced, above average? Where would you be? If you're a lightweight man, under 242 pounds, beginner is going to be anything under 375 pounds. Intermediate, 375 to 1,234 pounds. This is slightly skewed by people bombing out, but it is what it is. Bombing out is in they failed one of the lifts, so not all the lifts are counted. That's why this category is so large. If you want to be above average, this is 1,235 pounds to 1,339 pounds. To be advanced, 1,339 pounds to 1,450 pounds. Elite, 1,450 to 1,631 pounds. And if you can total more than 1,631 pounds, you are the king of the lightweight men. No, you're in the top 5%. The king of the lightweight men, I was thinking too early about Bob Matthews, who's totaled 2,157.2 pounds, over 2,000 pound total at under 242 pound body weight. Crazy, absolutely crazy, especially considering we're not allowing for wrapped knees. For lightweight women, beginners under 259 pounds, intermediate 259 to 661, above average 661 to 722, advanced is 722 to 794, elite 794 to 920, and if you total more than 920 pounds, you are in the top 5%, and you are what I would consider to be pro. Agata Sitko, that lady with the absolutely phenomenal bench press, she has the total record at 1,323 pounds. With heavyweight women, anything under 288 puts you as a beginner. 288 to 650 pounds is intermediate. 650 to 719 is above average. 719 to 790 is advanced. Elite, 790 to 952. And if you can total over 952, you are in the top 5%. This is only 32 pounds more than the lightweight women, which is quite surprising to me. The top total for heavyweight women is Sarah Rainbow, of course, again, without wrapped knees. And Sarah, out in Australia, did 1,709 pounds for her total. And finally, heavyweight men, beginner, anything under 386 pounds. And then we have this big range for intermediate, 386 to 1,257 pounds. Above average, 1,257 to 1,389 pounds. Advanced, 1,389 to 527 pounds. Elite, 1,527 pounds to 1,753 pounds. And anything over 1,753 pounds puts you in the top 5% of lifters. The king of the total and the king of everyone's total without wrapping knees is Jesus Oliveras. Unbelievably strong. If you don't know this guy, Mega Gorgia, I believe is his Instagram name. I don't know how to pronounce it, but go check him out. He is off the charts strong with a total of 2,541 pounds. He is the only man over 2,500 pounds in sleeves. Now, leave a comment for me. What would your total be? What lift are you best in? What lift do you need to improve? And are you above average? Are you advanced? Are you elite? What do you think of these numbers? These are not numbers that I've come up with. These are numbers that are backed by the data on Open Powerlifting. Tens, hundreds of thousands of results. I've filtered through them to bring this to you. Let me know what you think.